I'm back. I haven't made a video like this in, what, 5 months? Jeez. Ugh. Don't worry though, more are on the way. I've seen these videos perform pretty well, and I always enjoy making them, so I've always intended to make them more of a regular occurrence. I just think it keeps getting away from me. Well, here they come now, better late than never. So getting right into things. Yes, I joined my first game jam, and it was both thrilling and exhausting, physically and mentally. But I don't regret it in any way. In fact, I'm so thrilled I'm committed to it, even if that means delaying videos further than they already were. But regardless, in today's video, I'd like to go over my experience, the ups, downs, and all arounds. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like to check out my first Game Jam game or any of the other Game Jam submissions, follow the link in the description. Now let's get into it. First off, the idea phase. Now, the jam had already started a few days ago when I had found out about it, making my limited time even more limited. I thought it would be fun to give it a try, but I wasn't confident I'd be able to finish it in time. So, I gave myself a challenge. If I could come up with a complete idea that I was confident in my abilities to complete before the end of the day, then I'd join the jam. So, after finding out the theme was just get started, I began to brainstorm. And sure enough, by the end of the day, I had a full Google Doc with a completed game idea ready to execute. And I'd like to attribute my fast thinking to the direct inspiration I was loosely pulling from. That being the Don't Escape game franchise. As a quick synopsis, Don't Escape is a series of games about a person or people trying to keep themselves locked in somewhere, i.e. a reverse escape room where you need to take as many preventative actions as you can, then see if your work paid off. My premise was that you would play as someone preparing for a ritual, and you needed to search your home and solve simple puzzles to get yourself ready for it. Then, when you thought you were ready, you would begin the ritual and see how things played out. As far as art direction was concerned, I knew I wanted to make this a fully hand-drawn game, with a first-person perspective and control scheme much like the first Don't Escape game. Basically, a series of layered illustrations with descriptive text to lead the player in the right direction. When it comes to my engine of choice, I went with the option I'm most comfortable with, but I bet most of you won't recognize. That being GDevelop 5. Now, GDevelop is a very simple program with one of the easiest coding languages to learn, not even requiring actual writing half the time. It uses a simple visual scripting method built off of a if this, then that kind of system. But that doesn't mean it isn't capable of some really impressive things. And after this game jam, I think I can pretty confidently jump into my next project, and yes, I'm already thinking of my next one, with the confidence that I can build the type of games I want to make in GDevelop. That being said, I don't plan on using GDevelop forever. I'm already giving Godot a try in the background, but for now, I'm sticking with it. Now, my main gripe with GDevelop is one of their not-so-recent changes. That being, if you use the free version of their program, every game you publish with them has a very distracting GDevelop watermark/link at the bottom. Now, it does go away after a short while, but it still really annoys me. Aside from that though, I'd recommend giving it a try. Moving along, that brings us to Phase 1. The art. Overall, pretty straightforward, just drawing all the assets and environments that I had already fully planned out, including a mock 3D layout of the apartment room to help me with perspective. Now, while the process is quite straightforward, that doesn't change the fact that making 30 plus illustrations takes a long time. So, corners were cut, and the art was a bit rushed. That, and I'm not very familiar with drawing backgrounds as a whole. Yeah, great genre pick for my skills, I know. But I was still able to come out of those first few days with a result I could at least accept as passable. And as far as a game jam is concerned, that's more than good enough. After that, it was time for actual programming. And I don't really know how to make this part super engaging, so we'll run through it pretty quickly. I set up the backgrounds across a grid in the game engine, layering on all the separate pieces they needed, before then setting up some basic invisible collision boxes for clicking through the environment. After that, I set up the text system in the front door area, since I knew that was where the game would start. Once I had a good set of code for the text and interaction systems, I basically just copy and pasted it over and over, adjusting the parameters and changing the variables in order to work separately for all the other areas. Real quick, that's actually something else I didn't mention as part of the motivation to choose the game genre I did. In most game programming, you have to constantly worry about every new thing you implement bricking what you just spent the last hour working on. But with this type of very straightforward variable switching, there is very little overlap in the code, meaning it's very easy to copy and paste the same system over and over again for different parts of the game. But moving on from that was the sound design. While I had already added some basic background music and a simple fluctuating sound effect for the text, I hadn't done anything else sound-wise so far, mostly because I wanted to make sure I got the core of the game done with time to spare first, and thankfully I did. So after over an hour of collecting the sound effects I knew I needed, I did another pass of the entire game's code, implementing half-decent noise. Now, it's not the craziest sound design you'll ever see, but I do think it adds a lot to the feel of the game. Sound design is unbelievably important, and I do wish more young people in the indie production world realize that. After the sound design was done and a main menu was implemented, I moved on to the victory and death screens, one for if you fully prepared, and one for if you didn't. I originally had planned to make multiple death screens, all slightly different based on how close you got to succeeding. But considering I uploaded this game with barely over an hour left to spare, I think I made the right choice cutting that out. And there it is! An incredibly brief overview of my first ever Game Jam experience. I know this video isn't nearly as in-depth as other game dev vlogs are from other people, but one, I wanted to keep this video short and sweet since this is only my, third scripted video ever? And two, I'm not sure how a game dev vlog will perform on this channel. I'd love to make more videos on game development in the future, going more in depth with projects, but I'll need to see if you guys are interested in that idea first. So let me know in the comments down below, or maybe even subscribe, that'll send a pretty clear message. But with all that being said, make sure to check out the game in the description below, and consider subscribing if you're not already. See you in the next video, and I promise it won't be another multi-month wait.